Okay, I thought I would show, in case any of you are interested, I did get 2 of the new shocks on. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to take anything apart. However, on this BrenderUp, which is a 99 Baron, the front nut to attach that shock is very difficult to access. So what I ended up doing was I did end up using my trailer aid to jack it up. I removed this tire and I removed, let's see if we can see it, this nut and that nut, so I could pull the fender back a little bit, and I was finally able to snake in a box wrench. And of course your experience may vary depending on you may have more and better tools than I have. So I'm getting ready to do the other side and we'll see if that goes any easier. The rear shock was much easier too. I think it's worth taking the tire off because then you can access that much easier, but I was able to leave the rear wheel on in order to get the back one on. So I hope that helps. And here's something else for all you girls. This thing has saved me more grief and has been some of the best money I've ever spent. Get yourself one of these little, I guess you'd call it a ratchet driver. There's these small ones. Then there's ones that are a little bit bigger and more expensive. I bought them as a kit, and it enables you to loosen up nuts and bolts and things that you would never be able to do by yourself, because I don't know about you, but I don't have the strength. But using it right now to remove the wheel nuts, and probably also not a bad thing to have with you when you're on the road with horses. Just a tip. Okay, so now we're in here, and you can see there's the front shock. However, it is very hard to get any of the wrenches I have anyway into there to hold that in order to remove it. And maybe one of the guys out there had a clever way to do this, but you can see it's very hard to get in there. I even bought this little shorty wrench hoping it might help, but I still will have to probably just remove the fender to get in there. You can see the shocks, the covers. When I was painting, they, when I touched them with anything, they pretty much disintegrated. So that's why I kind of thought they were past due. And the 2 on the other side they had maybe a little bit left in them, but they weren't in very good shape as far as being shock absorbers anymore. So I think they were time to go. Okay, so I removed those 2 sets of nuts and bolts, and you can see now that enables me to pull that away a little bit so I can get a wrench in there, and hopefully that will make getting this one off much easier. Okay, so here we are up underneath, and we'll see if we can get this to work. But when you get up here, you're going to think it's this one, and it's not. It's all the way. Let's see if we can get it to work. It's back in there, which is under this, so you don't have a lot of space to work with on that front one, and so that's what made it a little more difficult of a job. And for those of you that are wondering what the aluminum floor looks like from the underneath, there it is. Okay, so here I am on the outside. And you can see where I can just barely get that box wrench in to hold the bolt from this side. And then I have my ratchet on the other side. Of course, it only goes maybe a quarter of a turn each time you do that ratchet, so it takes quite a while to get that off because of all that other stuff in the way. Here's another thing while I'm doing this is there was a video that we shared with a gentleman in England, I guess, doing this to a caravan, And the BrenderUps go on kind of backwards. The nuts go on from the outside, and on that video they showed them going on the other way. Then also on this front one, when I get it out, I reused the bolt from the front because it was slightly shorter than the one that came in the kit from AL-KO. And I also reused these brackets. I thought the ones that came with the kit may be just a little bigger, so I just went with what was on there to begin with. They looked like they were in good shape. There's a void in here, and I bet this one will be the same, full of spider nests, so they all lost their home. And we're getting there. And yes, as you can see, when I took those apart, spiders love these. Those are spider nests in there, so I thought I'd show you that. Here's a little trick I wish I knew when I did the first one on the other side. If you watch that video with the gentleman in England, he does show you how to install these brackets. Like I said, I opted to reuse the ones that came on the BrenderUp because I looked like they were just a little smaller maybe, but I could be wrong. But you insert them like apart, and then you put them into the hole and fold them in, and he shows that. But what I figured out on the second set on the other side is put a piece of tape to hold these there, because when you try to get the shock in, you'll move them around. And I was having trouble last night with them falling off. The tape seemed to make it go a lot quicker on that second set on the other side. Okay, and this is what I was talking about on that front nut. The gold color one is the original one, and then the silver is what came with the kit. And you can see they're just like a smidge different. The gold one's a little shorter, but it enables you to get that front shock in on that very close cut front area on the BrenderUp, or at least on mine. So I got the bolt through, like I said, the original bolt through that hole, then through the shock, and then the nut goes on the other side, and that's on there but not super tight. Wish I knew that the first one I did. I kind of tightened it too much, because now you need to make this end reach this, and that's why I put the tape on it. And just so you'll see what I'm talking about, is you actually have to pull the shock down and kind of push it around and then line it up so that you can feed the bolt from the back side, which is different than what the other video shows. The bolt will come in through the back side, and then the nut will be on the front side, just like that one back there. Okay, so you can see now I was able to kind of move everything into place, feed that bolt through. Like I said, it's a little bit of a job, but not too terrible. The tape, like I said, really helped. And then once you feed it through, you get your nut on, and then once I get everything tightened up, I'll remove that tape. Also, you'll notice it has an arrow on those brackets. That arrow needs to face the front of the vehicle, or the hitch end. So that's what we got going on. So I'm going to tighten everything up, and like I said, if you can get the front one on, the other one is a piece of cake. You'll be able to access this easily. There's not a whole lot on the back side of that bolt. I used my ratchet drill on the front, and I held it on the back with a box wrench and took the bolt out and put in the new one. And that one down there, what I did was I actually went around back under from the back side of the vehicle, and was able to put the brackets in, tape them up, and then also get the bolt on and everything. Those go on a lot easier than the front, or at least on mine, and I guess all the model years may be different, but hopefully that helps everybody who decides to take on that little project.